It seems the fear of the US voters is getting to Donald Trump, driving him into despair as far as the Iran war is concerned. Let's first walk you through what's unfolded and then take you behind the scenes and decode for you what's been brewing. On the face of it, it was another day, another warning coming in from Donald Trump. But this one, according to him, is the last chance for Iran, or in his words, the country will face decapitation. That was the word he used. In fact, he said that talks with Tehran had started and that Iran faces a last chance to reach a deal. He said they are going on right now when he was asked about those negotiations, adding that discussions were taking place at the request of Iran, Saudi Arabia, the UAE, and Qatar. In fact, he declared this is the last chance for Iran to sign a good document, and he wants to give them every last chance before decapitation. Qatar's foreign ministry spokesperson later said diplomatic contacts had reached very progressive stages. And how has Iran reacted? Iran reportedly earlier denied talks were taking place. Iranian officials earlier insisted no negotiations with America were taking place and said its only talks are with Oman about the Strait of Hormuz and that no major meetings were planned this week. Even US officials earlier reportedly contradicted Donald Trump with a report saying no talks were planned, citing US officials. This was a CBS News report. And in the latest, Marco Rubio saying talks have progressed, but there's no finality yet. So what's even going on and where do things stand? After all, a lot depends on these talks, and the world has been watching on with bated breath as the twists and turns continue. But there might be a ray of hope as of now, with Qatar reportedly saying mediators were making progress in those efforts to end the US-Iran war. But as of now, no clear end in sight. Israel's attacks in Gaza have also continued. Netanyahu has been rather tough to deal with. And the polls just keep adding to Trump's growing pile of troubles. Let's tell you more about how the Americans really feel as far as the Iran war is concerned. It's bad news for Donald Trump. Let's just take you through two key numbers, some of the many numbers that tell us more about what the Americans really say. According to this survey, 28% of the US adults approve of Trump's handling of the Iran war. Only 28%. That's not all. 64% US adults say that the ongoing fighting is not worth the risks. That's a huge chunk, 64%. In fact, Trump's approval ratings have also been dipping. And that's not the only survey. After a spate of bad polls, President Trump has simply declared they were not true. Let's tell you more about what he has said. Reacting to the many polls, Trump declared, "My real polling numbers, not those made up by the fake news media, are the best they have ever been." So according to him, these numbers are false. In fact, he also earlier said he also earlier declared that he believed that any polling showing discontent was, quote unquote, the radical left's fake poll numbers. Trump did not criticize a specific recent poll or cite polling that shows him to be more popular as such. In fact, his real poll numbers are at or near the lowest they have ever been in some non-partisan surveys. And while people around the world have also been watching on, paying the price thanks to Trump's war, the war has driven up the cost of oil around the world. And of course, it's been pinching Americans, to say the least, who are reportedly paying, on average, more for gas than they have since 2022 when Russia invaded Ukraine. That's the extent of the damage to their pockets. Trump has even gone to the extent earlier declaring that the US does not need the Strait of Hormuz. But whatever he might say or try and portray, he cannot ignore the sentiment on the ground. And that's what the real story here is. That's what's been brewing behind the scenes. And maybe even that explains his various moves over the weekend. He appears to be upping the ante aimed at ending the war that polling shows Americans increasingly oppose. He might say this is the last chance for Iran, but will it work is the big question. Trump certainly hopes that it does. This war is increasingly unsustainable for Trump domestically on multiple levels. Not just the depleting patience of the Americans, but also America's depleting stockpiles. Trump, in fact, has been the only president in modern era to take the country to war without the support of the American public, despite the fact that Trump ran on getting and keeping America out of wars, or so he proclaimed. The conflict has dragged on. In fact, Trump has also dismissed the pains being experienced from the war, saying they are temporary. And as Republicans face that uphill battle as far as the midterm elections are concerned, even Trump's closest allies have intensified their calls for a clear end to the conflict. And questions have been mounting about the sustainability of the U.S. military campaign. The U.S. Army has reportedly used up much of its stockpile of highly accurate long-range missiles during the war. No wonder then, exasperated was the word used to describe Donald Trump, not by some opinion piece or some report, but by U.S. officials reportedly. And let's also tell you more about how Trump has been spending the last few days, specifically the weekend. His bizarre set of rants and AI-generated posts continued. Let's just get you a sample. Trump clearly wants to try and show that he is the savior of the world, showing pictures like these, AI-generated, trying to put him in the same league as earlier fellow presidents. He wants to try and show that he is in control, the warrior, savior of the world, championing the cause as far as fighting this war is concerned, it seems. He wants to show he is winning, at least on social media. But with the midterm elections inching closer, he wants to also try and show that he is steering the ship and leading from the front. But the pressure has only been mounting, and Trump might try and put on a brave front, but the fear of the U.S. voters seems to be increasingly getting to him, driving him into despair, it seems. To stay up to speed with the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.